A very warm welcome to our audiences. My name is Devika Chhibber Mehta. Most of you know me as a journalist and an entrepreneur, but few know that I'm also a research scholar doing my PhD in artificial intelligence and Indian journalism. The concept first I noticed this concept in 2020 through a project on which I was working, and then I gained curiosity on the subject and I started researching more on it. So this dialogue is between me and an expert from the field who understands the subject and has been working in the field of journalism for a long time. Shobhit Sujay, a very warm welcome to you.
Hi,
Thank you for
hi,
being
Devika.
here.
Thank you for having me.
So let me tell you a few background details about Shobhit Sujay. He's a journalist turned actor.
Sujay, if I
Sujay.
may
Oh,
interrupt.
yeah,
Sujay.
sure. I often make that mistake, Shobhit Sujay.
Yeah, yeah.
Somehow I have been doing that for the last 10 years, by the way.
Many people do that, but okay, it's Sujay. Yeah,
Shobhit Sujay. My
yeah.
mistake. So
Thank you.
Shobhit Sujay is a journalist turned actor who made his acting debut in 2021 with short film Chaipatti and also worked in web series Detective Boomrah. Prior to being an actor, Shobhit as a journalist led top digital newsrooms such as Z News, CNN-News18 and Indian Express among others. In addition to handling desks as editor, as an on-ground reporter, he also covered landmark events like 2009 Lok Sabha elections, 2015 Bihar Assembly elections, Amarnath Controversy, Anna Hazare agitation, and so many others. So, Shobhit, this
Yeah,
dialogue is majorly about artificial intelligence and Indian journalism, or
right.
journalism in a vast space, basically. So I would first want to ask you as to there are so many jargons around artificial intelligence journalism, automated journalism, robot journalism. Do you have any other term in your mind which you
No,
think that
I prefer to call it AI in business of journalism. So basically, if you talk about journalism per se, so journalism is, of course, anything you do can be better with technology. So journalism also can be better with technology. A judicious use of technology, if implemented and integrated with the newsroom practices, then of course the result can be very good for the audience, for the readers, for everyone, for all the stakeholders. Now, when we come to AI, like AI is a form of technology which is extensively being used across sectors. So, be it manufacturing, be it warehousing automation, be it wearables, be it any domain you talk about, AI is everywhere today, which is subset ML also, of course. So, similarly,
machine
it's in
learning,
journalism also.
machine
Similarly,
learning,
it's in,
deep learning? There are
yeah.
so many subsets related.
Yeah, so there are many subsets to it. So all these are across different sectors and different verticals, right? When you talk about journalism, now if first before you go to AI in journalism, you first need to understand the advent of technology in journalism or new journalism, what we refer to today, right?
Yes.
Because traditionally journalism was all about ground reporting, a communication, a telegram, or eventually a fax, passing on the informations, passing on the details from the ground zero, and the photographs, videos, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So traditionally that was the form of journalism. That has always been the form of journalism, be it India, be it anywhere.
Hmm.
Now, when technology entered journalism, the focus shifted towards digital journalism. I
Yes.
remember the time when we were starting journalism. Uh, it was said to be the future of journalism. Like digital journalism is
I
said to be the
remember
future.
2006,
Yeah,
2008, I think you're talking about.
exactly around that time frame.
Yes.
Around that time frame. So this was the conversation in the newsrooms. But today, just say less than 15 years down the line, we see that no, the technology is not the present, but the future of technology has entered journalism,
Hmm.
right, in our newsrooms. Because in fact, there are many news organizations now that are completely digital.
Yes.
They do not have anything other than digital. wing of their outlet. So now AI in particular, if we say now AI can be used in journalism extensively, yes, it can be. But as of now, the use cases that we have mostly seen in higher agencies and bigger agencies, where the focus is also on data journalism,
Hmm.
right? Right? Like Associated Press, you say, AFP, you say, Reuters. Reuters recently released a, a study on the trends of journalism in
Yes,
2022.
the Vision
Right?
2022. I was just going
Right.
through that report today. Yes.
Right. So we have been through that report and we know that AI has been said to be a major component. But if you look at some allied documents or materials available for reference, you would find that it's more certainly in the uh, upper segment of journalism, that is the bigger segment, that is agency journalism, where data
Plays a prime role.
plays a very crucial role,
Hmm.
right? Then they also use it for improving the content, use of content in their archives,
Hmm.
right? Google search may not be the best way to get the the information that is required for a certain issue. If you're developing a story, you need some backgrounder. Google search may not be the most appropriate at that time,
Hmm.
because you don't know how factually sound it is. You need to go through then fact checking and every other process, right? So what we do in newsrooms, we rely on reporters or our own archives. Now the archives hold a very crucial place in developing any news story, from one line to a 300 pager, 300 word article. It requires extensive use of the archives, and that selection can be enhanced by AI. Now, if we look back a little bit, where I feel that such technologies were first incorporated in digital newsrooms was to access, the readability of the content,
Hmm.
to ascertain the readability of the content, to find out which content is more sought after, more read, or could be placed at a better slot for more visibility, to garner more page views, unique page views. Yeah, the click-through rate, maintenance of click-through rate. So these were the components that first brought these technologies like AI and ML into journalism. But now it's a way of delivering more personalized news experience to every user, right? Based on your cookies, based on what you like, the news outlets present you with the news. There are different priorities for different people now,
Yes.
right? So one thing. Okay, so this is what is AI in in the business of journalism, according to me.
Nowadays, we're hearing about how AI is being used to collect news and the process you said.
I'll come.
Personalized.
I would eventually come to news gathering,
Yes.
AI, how it helps in news gathering also, because that's another very important component. Why I said agencies, one reason is news gathering.
Hmm.
Agencies thrive only on news gathering. As
Hmm.
much news as they gather, uh, uh, that's the job of the agency. From every nook and cranny of the country, they need to gather news, right? Now the news flow, you can imagine, if you uh, evaluate an agency's, a national agency's news flow with that of any leading channel, you'll find that the channel has lesser flow of news
Hmm.
than any agency. But then it's to be done manually, right? It's to be done manually, and it's not practically possible manually to just filter out so many news items. So that is where technology is being used. Technology is aiding this process. Now, how judicially it's doing at present, or how the what long term, because journalism is not just about passing on the information. Journalism has ethical constraints to it. Journalism has societal constraints to it. Journalism is about viewpoints also. I mean, if we look at it honestly, every media organization has a certain inclination, political inclination,
Hmm.
and it has always been so. It has always been so. Sometimes subtly, sometimes aggressively, but every media organization has some or the other political inclination, which is a no-brainer. So, so if you use AI to disseminate your news, you need to choose those particular benchmarks, or the what do you say, filters, or parameters, wherein you get the news out that suffices your editorial guidelines or your editorial policies.
Hmm.
So striking that equilibrium, I think, still a major challenge for all newsrooms, and that is why, barring a few like Washington Post or NYT, AP, not many have actually adopted artificial journalism as a practice in their newsroom.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just content gathering when we say. What about production and distribution part?
So that is what I was saying. There might be a barrage of information coming in from different parts, right?
Hmm.
Right, different parts or different issues, different subjects. But uh, only a journalist can determine what is relevant, what is not, what needs to go where, and what needs to be ignored or delayed, whatever. So that how technology helps overcome that constraint in the newsroom, because that is what the production of news is all about. Like, we
Hmm.
get hundreds of information, but only two of them make it to the headlines,
Yes.
right? So that filter, how to choose those two most crucial information pieces amongst the flow of information that you have, barrage of information you have, I think only a journalist can do it, a human mind can do it. I don't think technology would be able to play much role here.
Right. So human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. So
Yes.
it's the competition there, I think. So what do you think? It's a, I mean,
No,
yeah.
yeah, please complete
हाँ जी.
first.
So basically saying that it's a boon or bane, ये बहुत black and white category वाला हिसाब किताब हो.
Yeah, yeah. I just do not believe in that. I'm not, and I do not believe AI is in journalism to take away jobs.
Hmm.
If you mean to ask that, I do not feel so. AI has, several dimensions that can, enhance any newsroom in a day if incorporated smartly and
Hmm.
intelligently, striking a perfect balance of human and artificial intelligence. A newsroom can evolve overnight. There's no two ways about it.
So foreign
So
media has already been doing so much. I mean, in
exactly,
Germany, in
newsroom
Poland.
automation is
I mean, if we just
newsroom
don't talk
automation
about
is
the
something
major
else.
organizations, there are many
Mhm.
other smaller organizations, and there are many
Of course.
groups that are helping out, especially Journalism AI from London School of Economics and Politics, which I know about. They, with the help of Google News Initiative, they're doing a great job. So when we're talking about the whole journalism here, but when we come in the context of the Indian journalism, uh,
Mm.
do you have any idea about certain organizations which are already following the practice in certain ways?
I would not be the best person to name any organization because I'm not a part of any of that anymore,
Hmm.
since I'm a freelancer. So, but yeah, there are a few. I can tell you that there are a few newsrooms in India, digital newsrooms in India, that are always way ahead of their competitors whenever it comes to any technological advancement.
Okay.
First being NDTV,
All right.
right? Yeah. NDTV had been doing the things, the live blogging and I mean, different such practices, like we do blow by blow accounts, live blogging, not embedding actually, but giving the video along with the story and these things. They have been doing it since 2007, 2008,
Hmm.
right? While the other newsrooms started it only after, say, 2011 or 12, right? So they have been
An approach
very
there.
fast. The starting advantage, the early started advantage they have gained, and that is why you would find NDTV website open in almost all the newsrooms in the country.
Hmm.
right, as a benchmark. Secondly, Jagran Vishwas News specifically. On fact checking, they have done some phenomenal job, not just in their newsroom, but even outside their newsrooms. They went to different cities, they talked to readers and informed them about how to, fact check the information they are provided. Then Opoi is an initiative by the former chief editor of NDTV and Times of India, and Hindustan Times, Mr. Nilanjana Bhadraja. So Opoi is based on, any information you find there would be verified. That is what they claim.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, there can never be any instance, any news that goes there only after due diligence and verification, not from a reporter, of course, but with the help of technology,
Hmm.
right? So so they have also, I think, tied up with Google News, and moreover, coming back to what I was saying, in Indian newsroom or anywhere, like, AI is not there to take jobs in newsrooms, which I was saying. A reason for saying this is a research recently conducted says that, most of the newsrooms go for AI and other allied technologies for augmenting the reporting capacity,
Okay.
right? And lesser for reducing variable costs.
Hmm.
So,
That, yes.
yeah. So cost cutting or taking away jobs is not the fundamental objective here. The objective, I think, on the part of most of the newsrooms, most of the respectable newsrooms, is that, how to enhance the journalism, the practice of journalism with the help of the newer technologies coming our way.
So technologies have always been part of journalism practices of
Yeah.
all the basic process of news gathering, production, and distribution. Technology has always been part of that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I've often heard people saying that earlier, yes, AI technologies were always there. I mean, not always there, but there are
Mhm.
experts who claim that it was there since 90s in different
Mhm.
ways of news production and all. But the new term which I'm hearing is nowadays that Indian journalism is using AI strategies. They try to find a problem. The basic way, the basic process of news is there. But now AI strategies are coming up. So AI technology and AI strategies. How do we differentiate there? Do you think that there's a difference between the two? That AI tools were
Whenever you
used.
talk, yeah,
Hmm.
whenever you talk about one tool
Hmm.
and vis-a-vis one strategy,
Hmm.
so strategy would have several tools in it,
Hmm.
right? A strategy would take care of the end-to-end operation.
Yes.
A news flowing in, a news being created, an information flowing in, a news being created, and that news being disseminated to
Hmm.
the readers, right? So when you talk about the strategy, it's about the whole chain. It's about how you power the whole chain with the help of AI. Then it's you talk about AI strategy. But if you're talking about an AI tool, it might be one tool that can be, just to check the click-through rate on the homepage, just to check the most clickable content on the landing page. So
Hmm.
that is the difference. So if it's implemented in one aspect, integrated in one aspect or one dimension, then it's a tool. And if it's taking into consideration the end-to-end operation, of course, it's a strategy.
Right. So probably some newsrooms are trying to figure out the AI strategies. They're trying to find a problem as to how to cater to a larger audience and through personalized news or other manner, which I know about. Like Jagran is doing that. HT has developed a podcast based
Mhm.
on this
Yes.
whole concept. So Abhishek Prasad from HT, I heard him once, and he was talking about this whole thing that AI
Mhm.
tools were used forever, but AI strategies are developed after probably thinking about a problem which the organization is facing in some terms, probably less readability or increasing their readability. This is one of the assumptions. So there are more assumptions, and that leads to a definition of a problem. And then they are trying to bring in AI strategies to solve that whole problem. So, as you explained,
Right.
the whole process of news thought process is changing. So
Yes.
now, as a researcher, I am interested into the subject, and there are so many segments of it. So what would be your suggestion as to how researchers, me or anyone else going forward, what are the fields which one should cater to through their research, probably for the future generations, upcoming journalists who are coming into the market, development of skills,
Related
you can say.
related to journalism, what could be
Yes,
sorry for me to rephrase the
researchers
question,
who
what could be
are
the research areas?
Yes, researchers who are from mass communication background who want to probably
Right,
study the field of AI and Indian journalism, specifically
right.
Indian journalism I'm mentioning here. So
Hmm.
as a journalist who has worked into the field for so many years and who understand the basic requirements and how the whole thing is changing from digital revolution to AI
Right,
revolution now, basically.
right.
So what would be your advice or suggestion to researchers like me?
Okay, so to start with, if you talk about Indian journalism, the biggest festival of India is elections,
Hmm.
like especially when it comes to journalism. So any research undertaken around how technology enhanced election journalism in India, because election journalism has always been the core of Indian journalism, right? So how technological advancements or AI, including AI, how technological advancements or different technologies, including AI, enhanced political journalism in India, in Indian newsrooms. That could be one aspect that I would like to know about. Also, going ahead, if we are talking about the future, uh, you know, like metaverse. Metaverse, many misconstrue it to be a technology in itself, but it's not actually. It's an amalgamation of different technologies, right?
Hmm.
Like AI, AR, VR. So it's an amalgamation to give a virtual feel to the virtual experience to the users, right? There are many platforms where you can host a virtual gathering of friends or colleagues
Hmm.
today, right? So these things, how newsrooms could make use of such advancements, right? Or if there's any scope of such, metaverse like virtual experiences, right? So is there any scope of this in the Indian journalism? If someone works towards it to find the answer to it, I think it would be very informative, considering the whole all the giants in the Silicon Valley are chasing metaverse at present.
Yes. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the big word for
yeah,
2022, I guess. Everyone is trying to do
right.
that. So, Shobhit, you have entered into the field of,
Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt. Just one more point, if I miss. Uh, you know, uh, the concerns that news organizations should have in implementing AI. That is also important. Because ultimately, what happens if your machine starts giving, or if your system starts giving templated reports to the readers, they
Hmm.
would not be interested. They would not be interested. Now it can work for curators, right? It
Hmm.
can work for curators who already get edited reports,
Yes.
right? But it does not work out when you do not get that. If you're not a curator, if you're a creator of news, then it becomes a problem. So these are some of the bottlenecks, major bottlenecks that they should that news organizations should work on.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
So, related to that, I have just one more question.
sure.
When we have talked about the regarding the research concepts I'm talking about here. So, when if someone wants to study about the effect of AI on the change makers, when change makers, I say I'm talking about people who are trying to bring in AI into Indian journalism.
Mhm.
What do you think can be done there?
They need to calibrate, basically. They need to calibrate the intensity of technology that needs to be incorporated in the newsroom. You need to rely on journalists also. Now, there are many people in a newsroom. There are journalists, there are non-journalists. Like, so if a newsroom first starts working on the non-journalistic things to aid the journalism process, the journalistic processes in the newsroom, I think that would be more beneficial for the organizations. Yeah, and then of course, data journalism, investigative journalism, or archive-based journalism, all of that, the elements need to be identified where these can be most effective.
Hmm. Right,
Yeah,
very true. So, Shobhit, I was getting to this before. So, you have
yeah,
entered into the field of movies now, and
yeah,
you're planning to get into that. You're already doing. You already have done two series.
yeah,
So, OTT platforms. When we talk about AI, is playing a major role there too. Technology front.
yeah.
If I go on that front, technology is playing a major role there also. So, what do you have a say over there? With like your movies also.
Technology is playing a very, very major role because, for instance, yesterday only our web series was released on MX Player,
Oh,
right?
congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you for that. Yeah, so it's released, but unless and until it gets the desired push, it is displayed in the relevant category. It is presented before the audience. Then there's no point of it being on any platform, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Now the algorithm works for organic uh, growth of the content on any OTT platform, right? But I think it should be more designed to initially promote any content that comes on an OTT platform, and then from there on, let the merit decide as to where the content goes. But
Hmm.
that is not. It's more. More than technology. I think it's based on deals. I guess for the promotions. So I think technology is there, of course, but it's always in human controls, even on OTTs.
Right, very right. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Shobhit. This was such an insightful dialogue, and I am
Thank you so
also
much.
pursuing the subject. So, I got so many ideas about the stuff that I'm going through, and I wish you so much luck for your
Thank you
future
so much.
project.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I hope you are successful in the field of movies, and we see you on the bigger screen someday.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope so. And I hope your attempts also, give you positive results very soon. And we'll catch up very soon.
Thank you, Shobhit. Thank you so much. And for our audiences, we'll come back soon with another expert for the AIJ dialogue, that is Artificial Intelligence Journalism dialogue. Till then, take care, be safe.